too many things that have changed, but I think the pressures around placement was, I think, much lower in our time. If I were to look at the time when we did the MBA, I don't think I had even looked at the economic times when I started my MBA. And placement, sure, I mean, in the 7 days before placement, we got worked up about it. But other than that, we went through the program. I mean, placement was, we all knew placement would happen. We all knew or thought we would get good jobs. It was not something that, maybe 6 months before this, we were not worried about which companies will come or anything like that. That we pretty much took placement for granted, and I think that has changed. That around campuses, people are far more placement focused earlier. And we are looking at the top campuses, and I guess that's not necessarily a change. Relatively more relaxed. May not be in terms of pressure or competitiveness, but just in terms of less on placement orientation. Obviously, the access to technology now is of a very different order, right? When people bring smartphones and laptops into the classroom, and for us, technology was, we had a computer center where some programming was done, and our reports were probably typed out. Boundaries between functions are blurring. I think also the profile of companies is very different. We didn't have e-commerce. We didn't have as many consulting. In fact, we came from an era where the big consulting firms and investment banks had not come from campus. So I think our top recruiters were probably at that time Anderson Consulting, Asian Paints, Unilever. Citibank was very, very big on campuses at that point in time. We had a Bank of America, we had an American Express. ICICI Bank did not exist. ICICI existed. So A. Ferguson was on the consulting job. So I think the profile of companies has evolved, the role of technology has evolved, the awareness of students has changed. I think there are three answers. What is it? What should it be? What can it become? What is it today? I think I would have to say that there is value that the program adds. The MBA adds value. I think if we look at our institute and our program, it makes you think differently. If we look at how students look at it, or even how recruiters look at it, I think definitely the platform component is there. It gives people more choices. It gives people a launching pad for the career. It gives them a start in a good company. For companies, they know that when they come to an SP or an IM, they're getting a certain quality of filtration process. And they value that filtration process often as much as they value the value that you require. Now, therefore, MBA has to become much more about schooling. Because otherwise you say, a lot of this was you take a good guy, you train him well enough that he goes into an IPC or a Unilever or an Asian Paints, and then that just takes care because those careers have a grooming. But if you're grooming people for a career where they will switch careers, then learnability, attitude, values, team play, soft skills, as well as a broader business perspective become much more important. An approach to problem solving becomes much more important. So I think if you look at it today, it is probably 50-50 between platform and schooling. It has to move to something like 20-80 for an after-work experience. I think the critical difference is that the way you look at people and managing people. The second thing that the way you look at people and managing people, if you do a course like engineering or you do an undergraduate course, you are often very comfortable dealing with people you know and like. The one difference in working is that you have to be able to get on with people who are different from you, understand them, work with them, and get them to want to work with you. Second is you have to understand people at the level at which you can bring them together. You can get them to do more than they think they can at a point in time. And a lot of that is about listening, having a very good working understanding of psychology, being a flexible and open human being. These are things that I'm not even sure that MBA education teaches you. We try to do something and I think we do a better job than most, but that's one clear difference. The second difference is that if you're fresh and you go to an MBA program and you get a lot of new words, somebody will teach you about positioning, somebody will teach you about strategy, you learn a lot of matrices, you learn a lot of 2x2 boxes. These frameworks are useful, but work experience enables you to filter which frameworks to use. And number two, the ability to think and communicate clearly and simply is very critical in business. And once you have work experience and you relook at those business concepts, then you have that ability to, that simplicity and thought clarity is the one thing that I think that if you have work experience and if you are a critical thinker, then you will be able to arrive at the simplicity and clarity. And where MBA education is giving you frameworks or thoughts or theories that are too complex, you will be able to reject, filter, simplify those frameworks. So it enables you to make more sense of it, and everybody has to do that. Second is every specialist has to realize that there is no such thing as a finance problem, or a marketing problem, or an operations problem, or an information management problem. There are only business problems with finance and marketing. I actually see it slightly differently. I think some specializations might start to merge, or you might see new boundaries. I can see an analytics specialization getting created at some point in time. I think you need analytics professionals in every function. Today you have analytics in marketing, and so IT is no longer, IT or information management is no longer just a specialization. It is something that pervades every business function. So that is one area which you might see. I think you might see, and I'm not very sure of this, but you might see this whole design thinking and innovation and creativity dimension being spun off into almost saying, can I create managers who understand design? Can I create leaders who understand design? And I don't know whether that will become a specialization, but I would today say analytics and HR very clearly. I can also see some hybrids emerging. So for instance, you do not know whether banks of the future will be banks or whether they will be technology companies who happen to deal with finance. Right now, when you do that, then maybe some of these boundaries are blurring. So a lot of the specialization boundaries itself may blur. That's the second thing. Third is that the specializations may move from being functional to process. If I did not do what I am doing now, I think what I would like to do is I own a consulting company. I still do. I think what I would like to do is be a freelancer. So I would do, maybe I would do these marquee speeches. So maybe twice a month I would do some invited speeches. Then I would consult with 3-4 companies. And then 3 to 4, I would teach at 1 or 2 universities, maybe one in India and one somewhere else. And I would use 5 months to travel. Being a CEO or a leader anywhere is a lonely job. You have to accept that it is a lonely job. Because everybody is judging you, everybody is watching you, everybody has an opinion on everything that you do. And you cannot share your opinion or your perspective with too many people, because that is part of your job. So part of your job is to absorb pressure. And therefore, in some sense, nobody will fully understand what the pressures of the job are. So it is a lonely job. So that to me is one clear difference between a CHRO. CHRO is less lonely, because there are multiple people. If you just follow the logic of a unity of command in a bureaucracy, and that people can only have friends at their own level. The CEO cannot have a friend in the organization. He can only have friends outside the organization. It is loosening up nowadays, so people are able to socialize most of the. But I see that take one. But my approach to these things is that if I accomplish something, I celebrate for 5 minutes and I say, what is the next mountain? So it's about the mountains. It's not about stopping at one peak. I don't know. Maybe doing a PhD at 39, finishing under 4 years, and just winning every award that the institute had ever given. Invest on the product. Invest in yourself. Invest on your strengths and on becoming the best you can be. If you have self-belief, everything else will take care of itself. There are too many students going into the market who are looking at outcomes before they have worked hard enough on the product. I think what I've seen happening to our students is that for the first year, they have both security, the sincerity, and the enthusiasm. Somewhere, this fear of placement starts looming, and then people think that we have to prepare to get placed.